Hi, everyone. Hello, and a great good evening to everyone coming on live with me today on my Facebook page. It's been so hot. It's been a very hot Sunday. So I kind of kept myself very cool, with all my windows, curtains shut off so that the heat would not get to me and get inside. But we are all waiting for the rain to happen. It hasn't rained in quite a while in Kuala Lumpur. I don't know why. Maybe it's climate change, but let's hope the weather changes for the better tomorrow. But good evening to everyone coming in, joining in, finding my page, Ethel Da Costa, and getting into another episode of Heart to Heart with Ethel Da Costa. I have a fantastic guest today from India who is joining us. She was my former editor in Femina, and we've had such great times, working together. And then once we went to do other things in our lives, our relationship, even blossomed outside of the work offices as well. She's so accomplished, a wonderful woman, a lovely, wholesome, a strong, personality in India, very well known. Her work is so well read. She inspired me so much also, in my own journey as a journalist and as a writer. And we've stayed in touch all these years, despite each of us moving into different directions. So you will meet her soon, and I can't wait to introduce her to you all. So welcome today to another episode of Heart to Heart with Ethel Da Costa. Heart to Heart are conversations about creating change through conversations, as conversations of the heart, conversations of the spirit, conversations of the soul, conversations that create influence, that inspire change. I think it all begins with the self first, as I always say. So this is my attempt to build Heart to Heart as my soul conversations, my own leadership soul series with personalities from around the globe who live the way they live, creating their own legacy. It is also, kind of introducing empowered individuals from around the globe to all my audiences who come from different parts of the world, including Malaysia and India. Personalities and people who live their truth with integrity. So, Heart to Heart with Ethel Da Costa is an association with the Mac Clinic, Malaysia's premier and pioneering aesthetic institution. Dr. Hugh, who is the medical director of the Mac Clinic, and me have a wonderful, relationship, which is all about, conversations, that he has around beauty and beauty of soul that comes from deep within. Of course, beauty in terms of innovation as well. And we saw a perfect match between Heart to Heart, of what I do with leaders and what he does as a leader in his space. So thank you, Dr. Hugh, for making all this thing possible. We've been having a great journey since June of 2022, and take it into the next year, inshallah. Having started out, beautifully in June 2021. So let's hope that we can have this, happening through the Sundays for as long as I can, kind of sustain it, and you will help me sustain it. So let me bring my guest online, who is in the back room waiting. But first, let me have you acquaint with her before our conversation starts. So it's a huge pleasure for me to introduce Sathya Saran, best known for a long association with Femina, which is like this grand magazine in India that also kind of pioneered Miss India, um, beauty pageant and things like that. Long history with it. Satya is also the author of a diverse variety of books, books like The Dark Side, which reflects her love for short stories, her critically acclaimed biographies, Years with Guru Dutt, Sun Mere Bandhu Re, which is a magical world of S.D. Burman, And Baat Niklegi, Phir, the life and music of Jagjit Singh, which bears testimony to Satya's own love of cinema and music. She also has authored a biography on Pandit Hariprasad Chaurasia. Sathya Saran is the consulting editor with Penguin, a Random House in India. She also teaches fashion journalism at NIFT in Mumbai, Srinagar, and Kangra. She's very, her passion for writing also birthed a concept that she kind of, fronted. I think a first of its kind writers conclave titled "The Spaces Between Words," which was her version of, the Unfestival, as she calls it, which had, like a huge fan following, very successful edition when it happened. Satya continues to write her columns in the Dainik Jagran right now. So I'm sure if you're in India, you are familiar with it. She's also penned a TV series. I was quite surprised about that, and I said, why not? Uh, it would be a very natural extension of what she does. The TV series is called Kashmakash on marital problems. I think which is so core of storytelling, because that's what it's all about. And she's unstoppable. She continues to write. She continues to do what she does. She continues to have such a hectic, productive life. And as I said, she inspires me so much, because I think that's the way to do it. That's the way to live your life full. That's the way to live. Being a leader by example. And Sathya Saran embodies it. So let me just bring her online, and I can see my chat is already buzzing, with friends from Delhi, friends from Pune, and friends from Goa already saying hi, Ethel. Hi, Indrajit, great to see you. Hi, Shaishta, great to see you. And hi, Jayesh, great to see you online. I'm getting my guests right on, just online. So hang on there with a cup of tea, coffee, whatever that keeps you awake and ticking. Let me have Satya online. Satya, there you are. Hi,
Hi.
Satya. Hi. Good
Hello.
evening. Good evening.
Good evening, Ethel.
Everything okay your side? How are you feeling today?
Very good.
Good? Yes, we were just saying that it's quite, hot your side too, and it's been, you
Yes,
know,
yes, it is very warm, but we can organize something to.
yeah, yeah, we always find a way, right, to kind of, figure out, go with the flow, and then just seize the moment or seize the day, as we so say it. So good to have you, Satya, online with me in Malaysia.
Good to
And
you, Ethel. We
yeah,
go
and
back.
and introduce you, to my audiences in Malaysia as well. Yeah, we go back a long time, Satya.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, good
All good.
times. All good, all good. Yes, all good, all good. So yeah, so I just introduced your books to my audience. They're all coming in to the Facebook page. Let's begin by you doing telling my audiences a little about where you came from, yeah, and your journey, from your home and building your own legacy, Satya. It is a fantastic legacy that you have been carving for yourself. Tell us all about it.
Ooh, you make it sound very formidable.
It is. It is. It is. And it's a fantastic one. It's really fantastic one.
Well, I actually belong to the south of India, but my father was in government service, so we were posted all over the place. And they posted him in the northeast of India
Hmm.
and happily forgot him. So we were there for 10 years. And it
Wow.
was lovely because it's a beautiful place in Assam and it's full
Hmm.
of mountains and there's this Brahmaputra flowing right through the town. And I drive to school alongside the river and watch the boats. It was lovely,
Wow.
and I think
Wow.
that's really something that is very, very, very pivotal to who I am today because I love nature. I am a closet environmentalist.
Hmm.
I don't go out and do anything much, but yes, I do care very, very fiercely for the environment and in small ways. So that is it. And then we got transferred elsewhere, and then I ended up doing journalism and working in a newspaper. And one thing led to another, and I joined Femina. And I think
Yes.
where the real journey began. Yes.
Yeah. Correct. That's where I met you too. Wow. I've never been to Assam. I don't think I've done much of India at all, which
Oh,
is such
you
a
should.
shame.
It's
Yeah.
very different from everything else. Yeah.
It's a complete shame. I hope 2022, you know, creates opportunities
I
to
recently
people.
went to Assam. Let me give you a glimpse of what Assam looks like. I went to the tea gardens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I went to a book. Wait, I went to do a book on the tea gardens, and let me give you a picture. This is one of my colleagues who shot these pictures. That's what it looks like.
Oh my God.
Just
Yeah,
green all over. It's beautiful.
yeah, that is so sexy, if that's a word
Yeah,
that is permissible to be used. Yeah, I think, there's so much to India. There's so much to India. There's so much to travel. You've also been such a passionate hiker because, I kept seeing of your photographs everywhere, climbing mountains up, I think in the Himalayas.
that also
And then
comes from having lived in Assam.
yeah, and then you got stuck once, I think so, in a flood, and all of us were like, I think you panicked, we panicked, and then you had like a movie style rescue that happened and all that.
Absolutely. No, actually, I didn't panic because we were very safe up there, except that we couldn't
Hmm.
come back. But at home,
Yes,
everybody had thought, God knows what has happened to them. They had no news for 8 days, but the army
yeah,
came and rescued us.
yes, a lot of action on that. So Satya,
Huge.
yeah, that was huge because all of us followed the story as well. And I'm saying, oh my God, there goes Satya again. Wow. So Satya, how did your first book happen, which was I think like a collection of short stories you mentioned. How did that
Yes,
come about? Because I think that spring rolled everything else, uh, all
yes.
the other books.
See, I was writing fiction on and off. The
Hmm.
weekly, debonair magazines in India would publish a story here, a story there, Femina imprint. And
Hmm.
Ruskin Bond, whom everybody knows and loves as a writer across the world, was the
Yes.
first person to publish one of my stories in his magazine imprint, which he
Hmm.
looked after for a while. He ran away from there. But that gave me a lot of heart because Ruskin Bond is someone who's a minor god of writing for me.
Hmm.
And I said, if
Hmm.
he liked my stories, I must be writing well. So I
Hmm.
continued to write, and then I just collected them together and brought them out as a book. And it's a strange story and a kind of inspiration for people who get rejected the first time. Because
Yes.
Kushwant Singh told me, take it to Penguin.
Okay.
And I took it to Penguin, and Penguin were kind enough to reply because I had gone with Kushwant Singh's reference. And they said, we nobody reads short stories, and especially your
Hmm.
stories are spooky. So nobody
Hmm.
reads spooky stories or paranormal stories. So why don't you just take that one science fiction story and make it into a novel? I said, I don't have
Yes.
anything to say, so forget it.
Yes.
Later on, I did
Yes.
find a publisher, and the good thing is that that book, by God's grace, has taken three new avatars and continues to be published even today as The Dark Side.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They
Wow.
changed
Wow.
names, changed the look, some stories were added, some were taken out, but different publishers took it over and it still continues to sell.
Oh, and uh, with visuals and stuff, or is
No,
it in other languages as well?
no, it's just fiction and it's just in English. It's a paperback.
Wow. Okay. Oh, that is good, Satya. I didn't know that too. Hmm.
It is.
That
And
is really
it's had a long
awesome.
names
Yeah.
because it was in 1990.
Okay. Okay.
That are
Wow.
rare names,
Wow.
yes.
Yeah, that was long back. Yeah, correct. 1990 was my first story also out. I remember
Mm.
in Goa. Yeah. In fact, today marks 13 years of my first book that came
Ooh.
out in 2008.
Oh, yes, I
Um,
remember one. It's a lovely
yeah,
book.
Eve's Revenge. You did a review of it too, and this book
Yes.
is so special because I was told by so many people saying that it was too dark, it was too intense, it was too, rebel voiced. There's no audience for that. And my God, this book sold out in 5 months, Satya. In completing 5 months.
No, no, I've
Yeah,
not.
it was in the in English. Yeah, I think you have a copy of it. You probably have
I
a
do.
copy of
I
this.
do somewhere in my one of
Yeah.
my cupboards. There.
Yes,
I
this book
see.
went into Marathi edition. Gulzar Saab bought 3 copies of that book. It
Mm.
went. It had so many great, stories and people who connected back with me. I think all of us just need that one thing, Rejection
Right.
happens in whatever, and then you bang, you kind of just
Yeah.
have that one foot in the
That's what
door,
I tell
and
a lot of young people, that if you're rejected, it doesn't mean anything. You know.
correct. Yes,
Remember,
just
Harry
be.
Potter got rejected 14 times.
Yeah, absolutely. And see that story, such an inspiring story.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, Satya, as I said, you continue to inspire, all of us, irrespective of age, whoever has met you or whoever has, got to know of your work in print and stuff like that. So how did your years as editor of Femina, because you mentioned it also with, with, with love. How did your years as editor of Femina shape your life, your views, and your career? That would be very
Uh,
interesting.
I think I spent 26 years in Femina, and I think the magazine itself shaped me quite a lot, because
Hmm.
along the way, one joins as a journalist with great zeal. You want to write, but you learn so much more. You learn
Yes.
discipline, you learn the discipline of writing, that you don't have
Hmm.
to wait for inspiration to dawn. You have a discipline and you have to write whether a gun is held to your head or not.
Yes.
You learn the discipline of teamwork, that you are
Hmm.
not alone. You have to learn to work with others, whether you like them or not. You have to put those things aside and work with them. You have to learn not to get drawn into office politics.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
huge. That's huge, especially in the corporate world. I see it happen all the time, that people are so stressed because somebody is
Correct.
doing some tamasha at the back.
Yes. Yeah. Drama. All the dramas.
I learned quite by accident that one could empower others by sharing one's thoughts. And that is what happened with my column. When I became editor, I started
Hmm.
writing a column called Me to You. And
Yes.
there was nothing much in it except a sharing of thoughts.
Correct.
But it's amazing that even today I can run into someone who will say, you know what, I used to read your column, I remember that particular one or that. But that's different people differently. And
Hmm.
later on, we brought it out as a book, some
Oh,
columns.
really? Okay.
Yes,
Okay. Okay. And what was it called? Was it called Me to You?
call from me to you.
Wow.
Learn
Okay.
is from me to you, and it says writings on life and learning. So it's
I think
about
so.
80 of them, because when I left Femina and joined another a newspaper, DNA, where I
Hmm.
brought out a magazine, I
Yes.
continued, and the magazine was called Me. So it was very easy
Hmm.
to do you.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
So this has
Yeah.
a both selected from both. And I think that is where the real change happened. And I was very lucky to be an agent of change, that people
Hmm.
would ask us for advice at the magazine. They would seek us out for help if they were in a sticky place, in a
Yes.
relationship, or in financial straits. They would ask us, how do we get out of this? And I think through various aspects of the magazine, we reached out and helped a lot of women who were in the at the turning point of a nation which was going from being very traditional to extremely modern and didn't know how to bridge that gap. You know,
Yes. Yes.
I think
Correct.
it was a great learning experience. I think one learned empathy, one learned not to judge. That if you put yourself in her place, you don't know whether you would behave any differently. We turn
Yes.
around and say, why are you sitting in that marriage when you are hating it? If you don't know
Yes.
why, unless you are
Yes.
there. Or why did you
Yes.
walk out? Didn't you think of your children? But you don't know
Hmm.
why she walked out. There must have been a reason. So it's things like this that one learned. And then I learned all about fashion, I learned all about beauty. These were things, and food. I think you and
Yes.
I learned these things together, because it was
Ye-
not
Yeah.
the magazine space earlier.
Yes.
It
Absolutely.
was
Yes.
amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, and it was great fun, Satya, because you've been, a huge support for me during my Femina years too.
Yes,
Because,
yes.
yeah, because I'd walked out of a marriage and I lost my dad in the same kind of, almost in the same, how do I call it? Me kind of
That's
finding, yeah, oh my God, I can never forget that. And how you helped me through to my father passing away. In fact, coincidentally, today is my father's death anniversary, and see how this, how we're back again together on the same day. Yeah,
right.
awesome. And I've come such a long way from that. Long way from that. Losing
I
my.
would also like to talk, Ethel, about a little bit that I was very lucky. The year I joined, they started something
Yes.
in Washington, D.C. called Women's Edition, where
Okay.
editors from third world countries would meet to talk on reproductive health.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I was on that for 2 terms. I was
Mm.
elected second term too. I was selected, and we traveled. First of all, it got me to travel the world because we would meet
Yes.
in places, which was amazing. I mean, I was in heaven. But more important was the learning that went into it, because we met experts from the UN, we met experts from all parts of the world. I mean, whether it was somebody who was doing what is it called, cutting
Mm.
in Africa, or whether it was somebody who was fighting AIDS in Washington D.C., or someone
Correct.
else was talking about trafficking in New York. We met all of them. We went to these places. We explored, and we came back and wrote on women's
Wrote. Yeah.
health. And I
Yes.
think it was again very empowering to our readers, because we in India, and I think many parts of the world, women look at their health last.
Yes. Absolutely correct. And we've seen our moms, right? We've seen our moms do the same thing too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we've seen our moms do the same thing too. Everybody is first,
Go
correct?
away.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and I say, my own kind of, journey in Malaysia too, sorry, which is almost like a year and a half. I see the same women empower, the women issues are the same here too. It's not any different from what we've experienced in India. And in a way, women are talking to each other. Women are sharing, have become sorry, have become very open about coming out and talking about things that matter to them, with their
Right.
bodies, with their mental health, with family, and I love that. And in any which way that I can also be instrumental in supporting that voice, giving it a voice through whatever media channels that we have. I think that is a life well lived, right, Satya?
Right, right. I mean, I
Yes.
think everybody is not given the privilege to help somebody.
Yes.
And if you
Absolutely.
are given that privilege, you have to take it and make the
Yes.
most of it, because that's what adds on to your own, karma, so to say.
Yes.
And it's
Yeah.
not
Legacy.
of
Legacy
what will,
building.
it's just that it's good if you can get a smile on someone's face.
Yes, correct. Yeah, and I think that's a mission. I feel has come to us through our gift of words,
Mhm.
because the pen is still mightier than the sword. In that sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. People tell me a whole lot of things like oh my God, you're so idealistic still. I'm like, thank God, we are idealistic, right? The world
But we
can
have to
be
check
changed.
whether the pen is mightier than WhatsApp.
Yeah, that is true. That is so true. Wow, I'm so glad you said that. Yes, it's like like when the entire internet shut down. Just I think last week it was, there was like pandemonium, like a global pandemonium. When WhatsApp also shut down. Wow, wonderful, Satya. So what you have altogether now? What, 7 or 8 books out there?
Oh, I have many more which are done for NGOs. I do a lot of writing for them. Like I did
Okay.
one called My Daughter, My Strength. It was for an
Ah,
NGO, Breakthrough, which works with
okay.
abandoned women,
Yes.
children,
Yeah,
abandoned
the
children.
Delhi base.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
the
Delhi based.
base in Delhi. Yes.
Very, very good
Delhi
work,
base.
excellent work. I went and looked
Yes.
at interviewed some of the girls for that book. We did 5 of their breakthrough supported girls. and it was celebrities talking about their daughters or granddaughters and how
Ah,
what they
okay,
invested in them and what they
okay.
hope for them, or celebrity daughters talking about how their parents shaped them. Like we had Mary Kom, and we had a whole lot of
Hmm.
other, you know,
Okay.
athletes. We had musicians. It was amazing. So I do that kind of work too.
And is that book available in a public space or just with
I
Breakthrough?
don't think so. It was a heavy book. It was launched
Okay.
at an event by Mr. Bachchan, and
Okay.
I think they printed 2,000 copies, which most of them sold or were given away to their stakeholders. I don't
Okay.
think it.
All right. Okay. Wow. So if anyone out there, can manage to find get your hands onto the book, nothing like it. Yes. To all my audiences who are online, coming online, I can see you buzzing out here. Let me get a few of them who are with us, because I think it's always such a pleasure to have everyone saying hi. So Satya, let me bring them online.
Yeah.
Um, this is Indrajit from Delhi, I think Dehradun, saying hello. IG, namaste. Thank you for joining us. He's such a sport. You must meet him. I will, if I'm in India back, we should all go to Rishikesh at his big, huge
Oh, lovely.
resort that he has. Beautiful mountainside resort. Lovely. And with the Ganges just flowing, just flowing down. So we had like a big, huge Ganga puja that was done before I came here to Malaysia. So IG, thank you. Thank you for joining in. Shaishta is joining us from Goa. She says, hi, Ethel. Hi, Shaishta. Thank you for joining us. There is Jayesh Patil from Pune, my old Radio Mirchi colleague. Hi, Jayesh. Thank you for joining in. There is Rajiv Narula, I think from Delhi, also, who's in saying hello. Hi. Hi, Rajiv ji. Thank you for joining in. There is Asha. I don't know if you've met Asha in Goa. Asha Bednekar.
Maybe
Um,
very familiar. Yes, I might have.
yes. Yes, yeah. She says, hi, Atul. Great to see you. Great to see you too, Asha ji. Thank you for joining us. Elizabeth from Dubai is saying, hello, ladies. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi,
I'm sure,
Elizabeth.
yeah, I'm sure she's all getting set for the Dubai Expo in happening in Delhi. There's a big, huge movie from India also that's going to be showcased at the show there. Elizabeth, you should go and watch. Thank you for joining us. And Shaista saying, she's sending a message to my dad, just saying, "May your father soul the rest in eternity, some man." Yeah, I'm sure he's sitting up there, wherever he's sitting, and saying, "Oh, she still goes. She's still making her noise." Oh my God, yeah, that Papa knew me so well. Great, and Satya, you loved your dad also very much. I know that.
Yes, yes, we all do, don't we? We're all
Yeah,
daddies.
yeah. We're all daddy's girls. So good. So this is so good. I've learned so many new things today about the other books that I had no clue about. So as an author, Satya, which is your own favorite book that you have written, and why? This will be very interesting because I think would it be difficult for you to choose? I think not. But let's
I
let's
think
hear it from
I think yes, because each book is a journey for me. It's a
you.
journey of discovery of the person I'm writing about. If I'm writing a biography,
Okay.
I kind of get into the spirit of that person's world, understanding the person from every aspect. So
Hmm.
if you're looking at, I don't know how many people in Malaysia have heard the songs, but this is my most unusual book. It's
Hmm.
on
Okay.
S.D. Burman, the music director, and
Yes.
it was a huge experiment which we thought about between my publisher and me, my editor and me,
Okay.
because we didn't write it like a biography. We wrote it in many voices, including Burman's own voice, which
Oh.
I created.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
I used to think like Burman and
Hmm.
imagine what he must have done to create that particular song, and how
Hmm.
he, you know, how what would he have thought of? How did he create the notes?
Yes.
So things like that is what I went through, and it took me 10 months to write this book
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
because
Wow.
the leave me and suddenly it would become mechanical. So I would stop.
Mm.
For me to
Yes.
think like a musician, my dog.
Yeah.
To think like a musician and to think like a Bengali gentleman was not very easy, but it
Yeah.
worked. It worked. The book has done very well by God's grace. That format worked again in a different way for this book, which is
Mm.
on a world famous, much loved flautist who I think he has been the music director at the Rotterdam University. He has students there
Oh,
from all over
okay.
the world, and of course he performs. I mean, he is a real globetrotter. To catch him was
Yes.
very difficult
Yes.
because he's one day in Banaras, the third day in Agra, and the fourth day in Italy.
Mm.
But
Wow.
that book has been very very well loved by everybody, and so I think I love all my books. I'm sorry to say, I love all my books. And this one has got a new cover because it's now 12 years old,
Okay.
and they thought they needed to give it a new cover. By God's grace, doing very well. And for this is my first biography, which happened when I
Mm.
was in Femina. And again, in
Okay.
that, I find a lesson which I want to share. Um, as you might know, or maybe you had left Femina by then, they were trying to change things in Femina. There were
Mm.
new ideas coming in, and there was a lot of discomfort in my mind because they wanted to make it sexier, they wanted to make it
Yes.
grosser, and they wanted to take away that tower of strength that we had built.
Mm. Yes. Yes.
Women could
I
reach
remember that.
out, could
I
find
remember that.
solace. And
I
at
remember.
one point, it disturbed me very, very much. I used to feel really hurt. And at one point, I got up and told myself that, look, this
Mm.
is not your only world.
Mm.
You have other worlds, so why don't you explore them? So when I read an
Correct.
article about Guru Dutt, whose films I had watched, how he killed himself and how the person who used to work with him has more stories, I approached the person
Mm.
thinking I'll write an article. And I can, but when I started talking to him, I realized there was a book in this man. He had so
Yes.
many fantastic memories behind the scenes, personal, intimate, and
Correct.
so this is a world I can quietly go into and
Yes.
forget the angst of what's happening at work.
Yes. Correct.
So this book was therapy for me.
Okay.
I,
Wow.
book, yes, it was therapy. It told me that you don't put all your attention into one basket. You need
Yes.
to be have a wider focus. You need to understand that life goes on regardless of change.
Yes. Create flow
Yeah.
for yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That way. Yeah. In some strange way, Guru Dutt kind of reminds me of Vincent Van Gogh too. I don't know why. You
They
know.
are both slightly like that. They were
Correct.
both
Right.
manic depressives. That's why.
Yeah, and creative geniuses also at the same time too. So ahead
Yeah,
of their time, so ahead of their time, and then to
absolutely.
be have all that talent and to be, to be misunderstood and go through the grind of everyone trying to put you into a box and because that box
Right.
is so comfortable for everybody else. So
Right.
Satya, I want to ask you because there are so many biographies that you've written. What is the process that you put yourself into before you start on a biography? Because these are not just ordinary people.
Well, these are all people I have been acquainted with uh, remotely. I
Hmm.
haven't met, except Jagjit, I have not met anybody. Jagjit Singh I have met,
Okay.
but S.D. Burman, I have grown up singing his songs. I have grown up watching Guru Dutt's movies or listening to his music. Hariji, I had encountered a few times, but I was not a serious listener of classical music at that time, right?
Hmm.
So I think
Yes.
I think the biggest thing that drew me to these people was the music that they created. And I said, let
Hmm.
me try and understand what made them do what they did. How did they make those films? How did they create that music? what were they all about? And
Yeah,
I
the
started with
intensity.
their songs. I start by listening to the music first and try and understand
Correct.
where they're coming from, how was the process of change in their lives, how did they evolve. And then I read up what I can, I do the interviews, and then put it together.
Yeah. Wow, the intensity of it all, no?
It is.
Because these
I
are
mean,
very,
in their life, you live their lives while that book is
yeah,
written.
they are such intense men or intense individuals. Wow, correct. So
Right.
you eat, breathe, live, sleep. I think their energy and their spirit, and then it manifests itself
Yes,
out.
while I'm thinking of them, not 24 hours
Hmm.
in a day, but
Yeah,
yes, there are long periods when that does happen.
correct. Which
They
also,
take
kind of, yeah. Sorry.
no,
You were
no,
saying something.
no. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so which leads me to to also kind of understand this as a writer myself. So as an author, because I think this is your a niche that you've created so beautifully for yourself as well as an author of biographies. What would you say, Satya, excites you about the personalities that you write about? There must be something that you pick on, because why these particular personalities in that
The
sense.
music, just the
Okay.
music. The fact
Okay.
that I know their songs, I know their work,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
it has fascinated me. Like if I could, and I had the time, and I had the bandwidth, I would do all the musicians of Hindi film music.
Okay, like a Kishore Kumar and a Mohammed Rafi
Yes,
as
both,
well.
and all the creators, the music directors or the lyric writers, I would do the whole lot.
Okay, because these two gentlemen were my mom's favorite, and of course, Engelbert Humperdinck. I think she had a huge, massive crush on
Oh,
him.
yes.
I think she still does. My mom still does. Okay, wow. Okay, yeah. So music is a huge part of your life.
Yeah, yeah.
No? Yeah, very interesting. I see so many similarities between the two of us up there. Because yeah, because it is a soul language, I feel. And I was just listening just yesterday. Coldplay, one of my favorite bands,
Mm,
released like a wave of new songs, and the songs are
mm,
all from their album called Music of the Spheres, which is very
mm. That I've
very.
heard. Yes.
Oh my God, it's beautiful. I was just sitting and sobbing the whole of morning today, because the lyric writing. I think he's such a. If you ever do an international biography, you should do on Chris Martin. Yeah, because to write the songs and the music that he does, of this generation, right? And to talk of so much of spiritual energy and love that comes from his work, and put it all together into words and music. I think I am understanding what makes what made you, what drew you to this big huge legends, and to write about them. Where are all
So,
these books available? Where are all these books available, Satya?
Amazon, all of them
On
are
Amazon?
available on Amazon.com and Amazon.in. So if you're in India, it's .in, and Amazon.com delivers. I know I have people who bought it in America, who bought it in Ireland, Scotland.
Okay, yeah, because your fans are all over the place. I know, so because
Ah,
some of them got in touch with me when I announced the show too, and they're online with us as well. Fantastic. Which also now kind of brings me I think to a very vital question, because you've seen it all. You've been in the industry long enough to see the genesis of lifestyle journalism,
right.
right? I'm also a product of that. And you look at journalism, reading, writing now of this particular era, so to say, And I think um, with technology overtaking or taking over our lives, uh, the reading, reading is a lost cause.
Hmm.
I would like to know it from you. Is it a lost cause, especially with this generation, which is
No,
there
not
in
with this generation.
schools?
Not with this. The generation in between, they didn't
Hmm.
read. My students don't read. I have to, I mean, out of a class of 54 or 42, maybe 5 or 7 will read. The
Okay.
others are not readers. And it's very difficult to teach writing if they're not reading. because that's what I teach. I teach fashion writing.
Yes, correct.
So
Yes.
they don't know a thing about how to write fashion or write anything because they don't read. And I have to keep telling them, if you don't walk, you can't run. If you don't read, you can't write. You know.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
yes, I see a lot of younger people like Ananya, my granddaughter. She's a voracious reader,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
her classmates, out of the seven of them who form the group, four of them are voracious readers,
Okay. Okay.
which is a better proportion than my class. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
So
correct. Yeah. But
reading
but
is.
but but yeah. Yeah. Tell me, Satya.
I mean, how much of OTT can you watch?
That's right. That is so true. Which is so strange for me because that particular generation that you're talking of, I think, is a generation of the internet explosion. Correct?
Yes.
And
Yes.
we would have thought that they would be even more savvy, isn't it? Because it's all available. It's not like us, who had to kind of go find a typewriter when we first started out and bang away onto it, and then gradually be introduced to computers, and then very fearfully learn on that. Why do you think this generation got lost, Satya?
I think they got it too easy.
Hmm.
I it's so easy to just go on to Google. We had to go to the library and search out a book or sit with
Yes,
the Encyclopedia Britannica to get some background information.
yes,
They
yes.
have everything there, whether it's correct or wrong, they are not worried. It's there. I ask my students, do you read the newspaper? No, madam, we read the shorts. So they don't even bother to read opinion pieces. They are not interested in the rest of the world. It's a very
Hmm.
insular life.
Yes, correct.
It's me, myself, my interests, what I want to do.
Yes. And that then I think also affects the quality of the generation, right?
And
Seriously.
they miss out on so much.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
They
Hmm.
miss out on so much. But then we are
Correct.
talking like our generations before us talked about us, so it's all right.
That is true. Yeah, that could be true. Thank God for us, being voracious readers and influencing the people in our immediate kind of, surroundings to also pick up books. That's the reason why I never had television in the house, Satya, till both my girls, passed their 10th standard. And then I got the television at home. In the meantime, we just read and read and read and grabbed anything and everything that they could to read. Both the girls, yeah, both the girls, which I think could also kind of acted as a stimulus, uh, for them as well. So what advice would you give to a generation of writers out there? Out there in young or in their 20s or in their 30s, a lot of women now in their 40s and 50s are discovering how to write. What would be your advice to writers out there?
I think I think some of the young writers are writing such amazing work that it knocks you out when you read it. You
Hmm.
say, "Wow, why didn't I think of this?"
Hmm. Hmm.
But
Hmm.
yes, there are a lot of others who are trying to write, who are learning to write, who are hoping to write. And I think one needs to one needs to understand what one wants to say and say it from the heart. That's about it.
Yes.
And of
Yes.
course, you must have the tools of the trade. You must have the vocabulary. You must have a basket of words which you can use and not keep using phrases that have already been done to death, not use cliches.
Hmm.
I think
True. True.
sincerity matters. The words will follow.
Yes. And honesty, I think. Honesty, right?
Sincerity,
Yeah.
and not putting, not getting self-conscious that I'm writing, so I must write big words. Just
Hmm.
write it as you want to say it and
Yes. Correct.
have something to say.
Yeah, like how you would always tell us, write like the way you speak.
Yes,
No?
yeah,
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 and I remember that till today. Yeah, some things that just get ingrained into your system and stay there.
yeah. And that's
Yeah.
the always best writing because we are always open to listening to somebody. So if you're going
Yes.
to be into them on the book, you have to capture them double hard.
Yes. Yeah. Forever, I'm forever the student. I'm always looking for teachers, always looking for mentors, and they keep finding me. And I love that. I love that space of being tutored, guided, say, okay, this is the way or that is not the way, stuff like that, to kind of be open to it.
Right.
Which also kind of gets me to also ask you this, because it is an idea that even I am kind of contemplating, though haven't had the kind of the courage to kind of to venture into it, because it requires so much of commitment. The transition of writing on paper into, like, for example, a short story or a feature story or a cover story and a book, an autobiography, and then going to write series, like a series, like a tele-series, like how you did with this Kashmakash. How did that happen, Satya? How did that transition happen?
I was in Femina, Times TV used to be there, and
Hmm.
I used to get a lot of these letters of marital problems, marital discord. And I
Hmm.
said, why don't we do a real series to help women? And it was a very low budget series because Times TV was the one
Yeah.
who was floating it. So what
Yes.
we did was we got stage actors. We didn't
Okay.
use any known names. We got
Hmm.
stage actors and we created a fictionalized problem,
Hmm.
a real
Hmm.
problem fictionalized. We went and shot in people's homes. We went to Pune where they have beautiful homes, and we said, "Please, do you know me? I know you. Can we shoot in your house?" So
Yes.
they house for a day. We'd shoot that 25 minutes, 20 minutes, and then we would have that problem discussed by a panel of experts
Okay. How
who would,
interesting.
yes, who would solve the problem. There was this problem about someone uh, who was constantly telling the husband, "You're dirty, you're filthy, you don't know how to keep my house clean," whatever it was.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
the psychoanalysis of that was that she is trying to wipe away some guilt. She's had
Hmm.
either an affair or whatever, and
Yes.
she's wiping away her own guilt by passing that
Yeah.
dirt to her husband. So things like this. So when you come face to face with it, there is a possible solution to that marriage.
Correct. Yeah. Because I think all problems are all projections outside, I feel.
Yeah, yeah. So,
No?
I mean, there were
Correct.
many like that. We dealt with alcoholism, we dealt with abuse, we dealt with emotional abuse, which is a big one. You
It's a
know,
big one. Yeah, that is a big one.
charming husbands who charm the whole world and then snap at their wives at home.
Yep. I know this. I know this so well.
Not even
Correct.
he can do that, but oh, yeah, oh,
Yeah.
he's wonderful. The wife is a spouse,
Absolutely.
but poor
Yeah.
thing, she's getting it at home.
Yeah, she's getting it at home. Correct. Yeah, and I see that it's such a common, it is such a common problem, huh, Satya?
Yes,
Very common
yes.
problem, and it doesn't spare economic sectors, as you
No,
say.
no, no,
It's not like a rich man's problem or a poor woman's problem, right? It is
no.
just an equalizer across. Yeah,
Right.
correct, correct.
Problems with
Your
men whose wives earn better than them or earn better jobs than them. There again, all sorts of things come up. And it's not
correct.
always the who's to blame. I mean, that's also
Yes,
true.
that is also true. Correct. You're an actor yourself. Do you find the time to take to the stage, in your crazy life even now?
No, not now. My only stage things happened in the 90s when I was working in experimental theatre with Veena Pani Chawla. It was a great learning experience. I learned Chow, I learned all these martial arts forms because she
Huh.
used them as already on stage. But
Yes.
mm, but I do stage shows about my books to market them. That
Yes.
is
Yeah.
why
Correct.
my marketing wing comes alive, and I do stage shows.
Yeah.
So
Which is very interesting. It is very interesting when you
yes,
first,
so that's good. That worked for me quite a lot. In fact, after this program, I do have another program on this book of mine because it was Jagjit Singh's birthday on the 10th. So
Okay, of October.
they're playing his songs and they're doing an interview about him.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. That is, yeah, that sounds so good. That sounds really good, Satya. I'm really enjoying this conversation, and
I
I
am
love
too.
that. Yeah, because it's so much fun. As I said, I was telling you, heart to heart, the attempt is to get beyond, right? Tell stories beyond, that people kind of know and kind of, associate with us because of our public spaces. And then, like nuggets like this, right? which is very endearing, right? And it remains in your heart because I think people draw strength from the fact that that we are all women who live our life, by example, live the truth, so to say, in not just in the way that we write and what we're writing, but in our day-to-day life. Correct, Satya? Is there any kind of like a very memorable kind of incident or an occasion that you feel has been life changing for you, that that kind of shaped you as the woman that you are today, because you've gone through some experiences also, I'm sure, in life.
Well, I think, the first day when I went to take up a job as a journalist, it was in Nagpur in a newspaper. And I wandered into the office and I didn't know where to go because there was this dark wooden staircase leading up, rather
Hmm.
rickety. I said, my God, is this where I'm going to be working at all? And I went
Yes.
in, and this gentleman was coming down. He looked like a sepoy to me, a peon. He was
Hmm.
wearing a loose shirt and baggy pants, slightly disheveled. And I asked him, he said, what do you want? So I said,
Yes.
I'm trying to go up. I've come for an interview. And he said, please go up. And I thanked him and I went up. And I went and sat down for the interview. There was a very officious man sitting there. And I said, I've come for the interview. Because he sat very silently looking at me. And I said,
Hmm.
oh, what?
Hmm.
How do I get him to talk?
Yes.
He said, "No, I know, but I'm waiting for the editor. I am the publisher." I said,
Yes.
"Okay." Editor walks in. It's the same gentleman whom I thought was the peon.
Oh. Oh
That's
my God. Okay.
right. I said, "Thank God
Yeah.
I'm polite by nature." You
Yeah.
know, Huh?
Yes.
and
Yes.
and it turned out that he was such a humble man. He had done amazing things. He had
Hmm.
cycled all over Scotland. He had walked to Mansarovar. He brought out the newspaper without any frown on his forehead. He went
Hmm.
swimming every day in the cold waters of a tank, whether it was
Okay.
winter or summer. So he was an amazingly real person.
Yes.
And I think what he told me, this shaped my life as a journalist. He told me, you are a journalist. So whether it rains, snows, whether there's a strike, whatever happens, you have to be
Correct.
there to report it. You cannot
Yes.
say, I can't go. You
Yes.
cannot, you have to rise above it. And I think that is something I kept very close to my heart. And which has seen me through very difficult situations because I say
Hmm.
I'm reporting on it, even if it's
Hmm.
something, I'm only
Yes.
reporting.
Yes. Yes.
So I think, and humility is something I learned from
Yeah. Wow. Correct. Yeah, wow. This is, this is, I love stories like this. And our audience also agrees, because there is Faisal. Faisal has logged in from Bangladesh. He says,
him.
hello, hello. Yeah, greetings from Bangladesh. And it says, good job, Ethel Da Costa. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Faisal. Thank you for
You have
joining.
a huge fan
Yeah.
following, I think.
Yes, yeah, good fan following. See, I love it because as we were talking, Satya, I think you and I have been given gifts by the universe, and those gifts, when I think when we realize them as gifts and we put it out there, it not only enhances our lives, because look at your life has taken you all across the globe, correct? I look at my life as a blessing, from where to where, and everywhere, doing things that way, which I think all comes from a space of deep gratitude of being given those roles to do,
That,
tasks to do, no?
that-
For a,
no,
as long.
you've always been extremely enterprising. I can't imagine myself going to Malaysia and doing all the stuff you have done.
With just a suitcase of clothes, which I still have a suitcase of clothes.
Yeah.
I'm amazed. I'm amazed at how I've done half of the things I've done in Malaysia. And my audiences from all across now agree. They say that I have hugely inspired them to just jump into the unknown and
Okay.
survive. Great. I have Saisha also here, who has a comment too. She said, "Oh, she's asking if Satya did if you did a
No,
biography on ankle butt. No, no, but maybe
handball.
That's a suggestion. Yes, that's a suggestion that Satya could take. Um, because yeah, because he has such a romantic voice. Yeah, you're true. Because
Yes, he did. Yes.
my mom, I think, is still majorly crushing on him. Yes, yeah. My mom hugely likes Uncle Butt till today. So Satya, what would you say is would be the Satya Saran legacy?
Oops, that's a big word. I think that's for
That's a
you
big
to say.
one. That's a big one.
I
But
haven't
what
thought about it.
you haven't thought about it,
Not
correct?
at all.
Okay, yeah. Because I would think that all that you're doing and creating and all the way you're empowering people with your voice and with your words is exactly the legacy that you are building. Because you know we will all go at some point of time, but what
Right.
we yeah what we create and how we live, I think, is what is left behind. Like how my favorite Keanu Reeves says the same thing too, saying, when we go, people who love us will miss us, correct? And people who felt that we contributed to something in their lives will remember us. That's about it,
Right.
correct? I think your books would kind of really be out there, inspiring so many other writers to venture into very unknown territories, to step into big shoes that are not worn. Assume, as you said, no, assume their avatars into you. That's so
Yeah.
interesting. Writing biography, I think it's a very scary proposition to actually do that, right? And to put it into words. And you've attempted what? Four of them or five of them already?
As of now, four.
Four of them. You have another one that is out because I saw like a post on.
Yes, that was assigned to me on Ritu Nanda, Raj Kapoor's daughter.
Yes.
Very inspiring life. I was really lucky to write that. She was an amazing, amazing, amazing woman. I
Okay.
mean,
Is
from
the book
from
out?
being nobody, from being somebody who had just finished college, to go on to become an insurance agent who, in spite of coming from one of the richest families in Delhi, to
Hmm.
sell insurance in such a way that you enter the Guinness Book of World
World
Records.
records. Yes. That must be some feat. Yeah, to
To
do
my,
that. Correct.
it was something else. I tell
Yeah, but if you look at it, Satya, there are so many inspirational women in India who have empowered and inspired the world,
you. Yeah.
and correct. And during my conversations here also, when I meet people, I tell them that India is one of the oldest civilizations in the world. Right from our mythology, look at the women were so powerful there, but at
Right.
equal power, with men and the kings and the lords and the gods, right? And so many inspiring women have come out, from a country like India. Very very empowering, I feel, and
True.
yes, and I hope that these are the legacies that we will leave behind in whatever that we do in the roles, as I said, assigned to us. This has been a lovely conversation, Satya. I really
Thank you
enjoyed
very
it.
much.
I really
I enjoyed
enjoyed it.
it. It's lovely catching up with you again.
Yeah, same here too. Because uh, you know but we've never lost touch, Satya. If you notice,
True,
no matter.
but like a message here and a message there. But to see you again and looking as
Correct,
lovely as well, it's good.
correct. Thank you. What is the message that you would like to give to the women in Malaysia who are with us now, who will watch this interview in replay as well?
Well, I've been once only to Kuala Lumpur. I went to judge a contest, but
Okay, okay,
uh, I know, and then I remember I was in Kashmir year before last for the NIFT classes I teach there, and I met a group of women who were traveling across India, and they were all from Malaysia. I
okay.
find I find that there is a certain strength in most of them.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
mean, at least the women I met were had this core of strength. They never looked weak or hesitant or, oh, should I do this? There was never a should I. It was, I will do
Yes,
this.
yes.
And that was amazing, but that I admired that in them. I really
Correct.
admired that. But I am not qualified to say anything more because I just spent 3 days in Malaysia and I met these women for half an hour. So I don't have more
Okay.
to say. But
Yeah,
these are
but
inspirations.
you're right. You're right. I think I see a lot of strength in them too. Strength, emotional strength, strength of character,
Absolutely.
strength of leadership. So many of them. I have got them onto my heart to heart too, and
Mhm.
a lot of them are very inspiring. In the work that they do and how they live their lives. Very vocal. Some of them, of course, finding their voice too, irrespective of age, in that sense, right?
Right, right.
And yeah, and if we can, add and do our two bits, to empower them, I would think it would make my stay in Malaysia even more meaningful because I have some great friends, here who are Indian, Chinese, and local Malay. Yeah, strong.
Great.
You mentioned correctly. Strength is a very strong trait that runs among them.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Great. This is good, Satya, and we've reached our 60-minute mark, exactly 60-minute mark.
Wonderful.
Uh, awesome conversation. Our lines didn't break. I like that. Otherwise, I thought we would have an internet issue. I hope you have lots of wind under your wings to do what you love doing the most, so
Thank
that
you.
you continue inspiring all of us. This generation, next generation, the generation sitting at home who are
Oh,
like you
not going to
said,
live that
who are
long.
not who are not readers, and one day maybe will grow up and say, "Oh my God, we should have read."
Yeah, yeah. But
you know?
thank you, Ethel, and all the best to you. Stay safe. That's most important.
Yes,
And
yes, I will.
you're full
I
of
will.
life. Love that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I will. Thank you, Satya, so much. And we're gonna stay in touch. We're gonna stay in touch.
Yes,
All the
of course.
best. Yeah, all the best to your Ritu Nanda
And
book.
read one of my books.
Yes, yes, yes. We'll have to see whether we can find it in Malaysia here, or maybe get them
Australia,
to Malaysia. Get them to Malaysia. Why not? And get you to
no,
Malaysia too.
Amazon.com. We'll deliver it to you.
Or maybe to the High Commission, get you to Malaysia as well.
Ah, that
Let me put a good word with them, because that's the intention. The intention for me is to get Malaysia to India and India to Malaysia.
wonderful.
Yes,
Won-
fingers crossed. Yeah, I've set my goal to that. So good. This was really good, Satya. Awesome talking to you. Thank
Wonderful.
you. Take care of yourself too,
You
and
too.
I love you. You know that. Bye. I'll
Bye
see you
bye.
soon. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes. Bye.
Bye. To all my listeners who made the time today to enjoy this heart to heart with Sathya Saran, a woman who I admire and respect hugely. Thank you for making the time. Thank you for your tremendous support and your comments that have come into the chat, sharing your own hellos and good wishes and well wishes to the show and to me and to the memory of my late father, and to Satya as well. If you are on Amazon in India, please find the book, Satya's book. Just Google, just type her name into the search engine. Satya has a lot of books out there. Pick up what resonates with you. This is, as I said, my own 13th anniversary of Eve's Revenge, which I did with my buddy who shot the photographs, Prasad Pankar. Thank you so much, for we locked heads together, and came out with such a beautiful book. To people and friends of mine who contributed to this book in terms of editing it, Victor Rangel Ribeiro, uh, my good friend Margaret Mascarenes, who's no more here and passed away just way too early. And she kind of really encouraged me to put this book together because I was just so scared to get this voice out, because I was afraid to say the things that I've said here and go and put it out. And thanks God, the book kind of just sold out, did very well in English and Marathi. So there's not a single edition available online, but there are plans of putting it into second edition. Fingers crossed. As I also mentioned, the book was an honor of my late father, who kind of really I loved him so much unconditionally. Today is his death anniversary, and today makes it very, very special because I kind of, had the book out on this day. I had, Sathya joining me on the conversation because she really supported me, in grieving for the loss of my father. And I'm here in Malaysia with you today, and you've joined me on this very special Sunday, and made it even more special with all your comments and and support. So please watch this interview in replay, share it with your friends, with all your Indian friends, in Malaysia, of course, in Goa and in Mumbai, and wherever that you are, and if you are a fan of Satya as well. So stay logged in to Heart every Sunday. It is my mission to kind of support the amazing talent that I have the good fortune of knowing closely and interacting with, so that we can empower each other. I think that is what basically I see my life also as a contribution, to share, and why not? And I urge you as well to be kinder, to each other, to put humility, as our first calling card, as I call it, right? To be kind, to be humble, to be deeply connected with who we are as individuals, because everything else is temporary. We're just here, on a short time frame, and if we can change lives in that time frame, inspire people to lead by example, be good leaders in our community, in our walk and talk, and how we are and who we are as persons, I would say that would be a life well lived and lived full. Thank you so much again for joining me, for everywhere and wherever that you've joined me. Please watch the video in replay, share it with whoever you feel will resonate, and have a great week. Have a great, week that is coming ahead. Monday is just tomorrow. Stay healthy, stay safe. Good night, and thank you so much. I love you lots.